Hey guys, Coach Tosh here with Bench Break, and I have Coach Zach and Coach Ashley. So we have a controversial topic today that I feel that Ashley might be taking it off, and then we'll be chiming in. It's basically cardio versus resistance training for fat loss. What are your thoughts?
Wow. Give me that right here. Here we go. All right, so I feel like in 2023 that we shouldn't be talking about this still, but somehow we still are talking about this. And I feel like it's just a topic that I will forever battle for the rest of my career being in fitness is, cardio versus resistance training and fat loss. I mean, every single expert has a podcast, has a YouTube video out about this, and almost every single one of them are going to tell you that you must resistance train for weight loss. And I'm not going to deep dive into it. I'm not going to go into the science. There are many people who are way more accredited and have the credentials to talk about this in depth and the scientific reasoning behind it. But my advice is this, and I could keep you guys here for like hours if I didn't reel it in. So just starting right out the gate, my advice to people who are looking for weight loss and you are a cardio bunny, as we like to call them, that means you're doing hours on the treadmill, hours on the Stairmaster, and you are not touching a single weight, is go for the weights, right? So I like to sandwich cardio. So either before your workout, I typically like to do cardio post-workout because you want to utilize the glycogen in your muscles, all of that fuel that you have stored up for your resistance training. You want the energy used to build strength. And when you go in and you work out, you need to focus on, if people focused on more of getting just how strong can I get versus just getting through a workout, your body will change incrementally, just focusing on strength, right? So going into a workout and not just moving the weight, but actually working with intent and seeing, okay, how much weight can I do safely? Obviously, safety is my first concern and foremost in injury prevention, but you will see changes in your body. And if for some reason there are some people who need that cardio for the mental health, and I get it. There are some mornings I wake up and I don't want to work out. I just go and I just get the cardio in. I get my body moving, right? I'm like, let me just go do 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. I need it for the mental aspect. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm not just talking about you guys. Keep that in. Your mental health is incredibly important. But if you do feel the need to continue with the cardio training, which cardiovascular health is important, but you're still training your heart when you're lifting weights too. Put it after your workout. Post-workout's my advice for people. Get that, utilize that energy that's stored in your body and push it towards the weights, and then you will see changes and body recomposition will happen. The more muscle you have in your body, the more calories you will burn at rest. The more calories you burn at rest, obviously you will see if you are in a caloric deficit and you're building more muscle, you're going to be burning more calories. That's just as simple as I can make it without getting into a deep dive. And I won't go on a tangent for you guys because, again, there are people who are way more qualified on this that can talk about this for a lot longer and in depth in the scientific part of it. So I'll go ahead. Do you want to add something on top of that?
I just want to add, I think it stems from stereotypically us thinking, us as women thinking that we should just do cardio and not do weights. I think that's where it originates from, because originally when I started training with the trainer back in the day, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, well, I need to be skinny, right? Because then it goes into like body types and we can go on and on into that. So like that was even my family were like, well, why are you lifting weights? Do you want to look like a man? And I'm like, no, I just wanted to be strong. No, these are real things that's happened. So but through time, then I realized that I'm like, that was not the right mindset. But it can go as far as like culturally, men versus women. It's so many layers.
2023. And people still think that, like the route is cardio only.
Yeah.
Right? They're out there running miles and miles and miles. And I'm like, But
then that's also how you can tell like who's a marathon, like by how they train, by their body type. Like, oh, that person runs a lot, that person trains, that person doesn't, mixes it. So I think that's where probably some women have that that controversy within themselves and trying to break barriers outside of their family and internally and just trying to ultimately just look good and feel good. That's really what everyone's goal is. Zach, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, sure.
He's like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
So in terms of cardio, I do think cardio gets a bad rep these days because we think of just the people. I think of going to the gym and I just see all these zombie-looking people on a treadmill or a Stairmaster just glued to their phone or the TV, and they're just like doing absolutely nothing, just like little steps, counting their calories.
The heart rate's like 110 beats a minute.
Yeah, like you're not doing much. And then there's a fear of women doing any kind of resistance training, you don't want to bulk up. I just want to get toned. Like, okay, we're not going to get into that. But
listen, if you have the
That's
secret to bulking up, you better tell every single bodybuilder on this planet who's been working years to put muscle in their body how you bulk up by lifting a weight that's 5 pounds heavier than you want.
Ladies, you are not going to get jacked by simply lifting weights.
You won't.
You will need to be eating so much food, possibly even taking performance enhancing drugs for you to actually get jacked. So don't fear that.
Yes.
Okay? Now, that was a tangent. Anyway.
Lift the weights.
So when it comes to cardio, I think even in the fitness industry now, we're kind of mixing the cardio with the resistance training in these HIIT classes, which there's pros and cons to it. I do think I see a lot of people get hurt in these classes, so I do think the cons are a lot of times outweighing the pros, especially if you're doing really highly technical exercises like a snatch and people have no idea what they're doing. But that's another tangent. We're going off on tangents here. Anyway, in terms of cardio and resistance training, I think every human being should be doing some form of resistance training. That doesn't necessarily mean the gym. That doesn't even mean weights. You can be doing calisthenic body weight exercises. That's resistance training. So just because you hate the gym, don't fear resistance training. Go to the park, hit up a pull-up bar, do some push-ups, some air squats, lunges, all that. You don't need a gym to do resistance training. Second of all, and this is my professional opinion, that the fastest and the most effective way to both burn fat and gain muscle is sprinting. Now, sprinting could be running sprinting, could be sprinting on a bike, could be sprinting on some kind of cardio equipment, could be interval training where you're doing, basic steady state, just kind of like catching your breath and then zoom, go as fast as you can. Sprinting is the only form of cardio that actually builds muscle as well. Look at professional sprinters. Look at the Olympic sprinters. They're all jacked. You look at marathon runners. Now that goes into how the body's adapting. When it comes to people running 20 plus miles, even like 10 miles or more, the body's gonna pare down the muscle. It'll actually shrink your muscles because more muscle is not advantageous to you doing long distance running.
Type of muscle as well.
Yeah, you're doing slow twitch muscle fibers instead of the fast twitch.
You're not building a well-rounded muscle.
And the way that the body's adapting to make you be have more endurance is actually by increasing the amount of mitochondria within the muscle, but it also makes the muscle smaller. You look at marathon runners, they're in, terrible shape, honestly. They're not strong looking, they're not athletic looking. Sorry if you're a marathon runner, I'm calling you in terrible shape. Most likely you are. But, so now sprinting is different. However, sprinting is not for everybody. I would never take someone that's deconditioned or older and tell them to sprint. You're not going to have the right running mechanics or biking mechanics. You're going to hurt yourself. So that can be as simple as interval training on an exercise bike, and you can coach someone through that. That is the most effective way, but also resistance training. The more muscle you have, the more metabolically active that tissue is, you're gonna burn more energy throughout your day. Metabolically active. So, cardio versus resistance training for fat loss, it depends on the cardio. It depends on your intensity. Depends on your intent with that cardio. Resistance training should always be doing that. You might say, okay, but what about the strongmen competitors or power lifters that lift all this weight? You're telling me all I need to do is get strong and I'll lose weight. Look at the strongest people in the world, and they're huge, they're fat, their bellies are big, right? That's a different story. We're not gonna get into that. So worry about getting strong, but also worry about getting explosive. You wanna be explosive, you wanna do sprints, you wanna do some maybe not plyometrics, but something where you're moving fast as the human body's meant to do. So don't fear weights if you're a woman, and also don't fear cardio unless you're just doing nothing and running for no reason. Like intention with your cardio, jump rope, you'll be good.
I think a good, just to touch on this real fast, is check out other bench break about timing efforts, right, in between. So I think a good tie into this is obviously training and lifting. Check out our other bench break about where we're talking about how long you should be training, how long you should be recovering in between. And we're gonna come to you guys live with many of these topics. If you guys have a topic of discussion that you're interested in us discussing and going into a deep dive, or just giving our professional opinion on. Again, I don't like to speak on anything per se that I'm not an expert in or I don't feel confident in talking about, and I'll be very upfront with you guys, and I'll just pass the mic off to somebody else. Zach has a lot of expertise in many areas that I do not, as well as does Tosh. So we all come to you guys with years of experience and just we're students of life, and we're always going to study for you guys. So again, thanks for joining us during our bench break, and we'll see you guys next time.
Metabolically active.
Blah, 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 blah.